Hey YouTube, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I am back with another Walking Dead reaction. And today we have a special guest joining us all the way from the confines of one of my boxes that I moved with, Michonne. Yeah, she's still here, but she's a little worse for wear, and unfortunately she lost her stand, so she's just gonna take a little nap. She's gonna take a little nap during this filming, but just know she's here, present, and accounted for, okay? So we are now on episode 3 of season 8, which is entitled Monsters, which really has me kind of like, okay, is this kind of coming back to last week's whole question about like who really are the monsters in this situation, especially after what Rick unintentionally did by orphaning that little girl, and you know, the fact that Jesus is challenging whether or not they should just be killing indiscriminately. So I'm wondering, like, that's kind of my guess, is that we're going to go with that theme of, you know, are we both kind of monsters? Who really are the monsters in this situation? And just kind of a quick recap of last week. Basically, we had the continued assault on the Saviors. You know, we ended the assault at the sanctuary, but we moved on to what I'm going to assume is 3 other outposts. We had Rick and Daryl go to one of the outposts looking for weapons. We had Carol and Ezekiel go to another outpost where they had to take out, I guess, kind of a gate and then get to another one, but that one went sideways when an explosion they didn't anticipate happened. And they're kind of walking into what's going to probably be a firefight since they found out that they've been alerted to their presence. And then we had Tara, Jesus, and Morgan at the satellite station, which is actually the first Savior's outpost we were ever exposed to, and where Rick and group initially thought they thought that was all of the Saviors, and they discovered the very, very hard way in season 7 that it wasn't. But digressing, that's where those guys went, and we got caught. Oh, and I forgot that Aaron and his partner Eric went to, I don't know if it was a different station or if they were just in another part of one of the other stations. They didn't really clarify that during the filming, but point is, our group was all kind of split up on a pretty massive assault, and some of it was going well, but some of it obviously went sideways. We saw that Eric got shot, and again, Carol and Ezekiel are potentially walking into a very bad situation now that the Saviors are aware of their arrival. And then of course we had Rick having that gut-wrenching moment of killing that man, but then running into Morales. Season 1 Morales, we haven't seen that dude in so long. I hadn't even thought about him since season 1. So I'm hoping we're also gonna get a little more backstory on Morales in this episode. Not a lot, because again, he's been gone for 7 years. 7 years our time. And I mean, let's face it, I mean, I really don't think we're gonna go on a whole path of Morales' journey, but it'll be interesting to see what brought him to a point of being okay with working with the Saviors, if any of his family is still alive, and really I guess it'll come down to whether or not Rick can convince him to come over to their side, or if maybe Morales is a completely different man now. So lots to look forward to in this episode. Hopefully get some more of that really cool critical thinking, deep moral compass type questions in this episode, and let's get into it. All right, hit the button, Mitch. I feel like they should spread out a little bit. I don't like them being in this big group. That can't be good. Yeah. Like I said, spread out.
We have strategy.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, we do.
Whew.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we can.
We will lose not one of our ranks.
It's a hefty promise, Zeke.
Guns down. Now.
Come on, Morales, be cool, man.
Shit. Well, I guess we aren't the same guys we used to be, huh?
That's very true.
Because you're a monster.
Whoa.
Either way, we're gonna settle your shit, Peaches.
Whoa, wait, we're name calling now, Morales? Okay. Who's that? Is that Carol's people? I'm so confused with the geography right now. Oh, we're gonna lose Eric.
That is it.
Check the back. I went through.
There's an exit wound.
Yes.
It's good.
Unless it punctured everything on its way through.
I'll get you to the kingdom's doctor. Don't be an idiot. They need you. Here, look.
I don't think he wants you to see him die. Who has got the nerve to be whistling right now? Oh, of course, the dick. Oh. He said you couldn't kill him, Morgan, but you could hurt her. Real bad.
No matter what they've done, they're people.
Debatable.
It's many, but we don't execute. I have.
Yep. You don't know Morgan, son.
Is your family here?
Your arm must be tired. Oh, they're gone, aren't they?
We never made it to Birmingham.
Are you Negan, too?
Ooh, the venom.
Yeah, I'm Negan.
That's too bad.
To make it this far, this long, I had to be something.
You could have been Morales.
We're not this.
We're two assholes who'll do whatever we have to just to keep going.
True
The only
words.
difference is, I'm the one holding the gun. You can say all the words, Laurie, Shane, Andrea, Glenn. They're all dead.
True.
And somewhere along the way, Officer Friendly died right along with him. Just like I did.
So much truth.
No!
Oh my God.
You good?
The end. Thanks for coming out, Morales. What the hell?
They aren't here.
What?
Found a
All the
baby.
savings back from the court.
I think I finally got it.
It's cruising for it, man.
It's your armor.
These festive walkers just playfully rolling down the hill. Ooh, Morgan gonna clear every last one of them. Just take out the redhead. If nobody else, take out the redhead, please. That's all I ask. Good God!
Stop. Would you think they were gonna come back? That they would change? That they would be something else? It doesn't change.
Nope.
It never changes. Once you turn, Morgan,
You
we're
clear.
gonna find another way. Really think she won't want him dead?
Exactly.
Every last one after what they've done? You see, we are the same.
Morgan.
We're the same. We're the same.
So much
there's
truth.
no choice. Everybody turns. We're gonna have to find a way to peace.
Okay, Jesus. I don't think Morgan's seen it right now. I saw this fight coming, but I didn't think we'd get it.
But our first victory will allow our second. Our second will deliver our third.
Quick maths. Woo! Who would have thought Ezekiel's group would be the one that did the best out of all of them? Oh, please don't hurt Morgan. Oh my gosh. Can we not fight in front of the kids? Come on. This is two of my favorite characters. This is like your favorite children fighting. Stop it.
Aaron! Rick! We're by the elevator!
Oh, thank goodness. I was like, who's there? Morgan. Stop clearing. Babe, please come back. Come back, Morgan, come back. No, Morgan, we need you.
You are right.
Did you say Jesus is wrong? Girl. Oh, hey. Someone letting it out of the closet again.
Hey!
No.
Hello?
We closed.
I need help!
That's nice. So does Gabriel. Shoo.
So what are you doing here?
Yep.
I live here. This is my home.
Not no more.
I went to them in you know, in the interest of furthering
your own personal interests.
You went there to betray us. To warn Negan that we were going to fight.
Yep.
That's what you told Cal when you dragged him there. It's why Cal left you there.
Cal is delusional.
What the hell?
Cal's like, screw you, but yeah, you knew it was coming.
That thing with the sword.
Please don't bang.
Wrong. I made a mistake.
He left Gabriel.
And we're all just human beings with faults and flaws and fears.
Shut up.
I've changed. I'm a believer now.
So gonna regret this.
Maggie?
We are not letting them in. No way.
Oh,
With what they did, with what they do, they are monsters. Gregory, no, this is not a sanctuary for killers, Jeopardy.
Get out of here.
how are you not choking on your hypocrisy
I
right
have
now,
stared
Gregory?
into the face of
Gregory!
Oh no. Is he gone because he turned? Oh my god, that's a lot of blood. No, he's not, sweetie. He's gone. Sucks. Loving the apocalypse, y'all. It's not worth it. Rick and babies.
Yes, he was. Go with me.
Oh.
I can.
Aaron needs somebody to cuddle.
Aaron.
Babies do heal.
Sure.
And we'll never speak of what happened to her father. Ever.
You gone too long, I'm gonna come looking for you.
That's the plan.
Who the hell was that?
And there's a herd coming. I'm just saying.
FYI. Will he keep his word?
Can I go?
I knew Daryl was gonna do it. So Daryl's in clear mode.
Not one.
Why would you say that? Stop it.
One or the other. Cannot be.
No, you did not end. Ah, damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I knew it. I knew when they kept saying that no one got hurt, that I'm like, why would you put that in the universe? This is The Walking Dead. That's as bad as saying, I'm in love with you. Automatic death sentence. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, guys, that was Monsters, episode 3 of season 8. That was good. That was really good, guys. I'm digging this season's pacing a lot. I'm really, it's going really well for me. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. Wow, where to start? Let's, I guess let's talk about Morales, because he was kind of where we ended in the last episode, and he kind of, the conversation him and Rick had was basically the whole moral question that's been debated since the last episode, and pretty much, I guess, this whole season so far, which is who really are the bad guys in this whole situation, and who gets to decide who lives or dies, who's in the right, which killing is the right killing. All those things were kind of encompassed in that short but extremely succinct argument given by Morales as to, you know, everything. I love that whole dynamic that they had with, you know, Rick kind of giving, you know, man, just Andy Lincoln, I love you, pal. I love the way when he said that, like, are you Negan, like that disgust on his face, like how dare you join this awful group. But then we got to see Morales talk about his side of the story, which I was hoping we'd get, when of course I knew we wouldn't have time for like a long flashback. But the fact that his family died almost immediately, because he said that they didn't even make it to their destination, and that was season 1. So apocalypse time, it's been over 2 years, and he's basically been alone for all of it. And in his case, the saviors really were just that. They were saviors. They came and they gave him meaning again, which is something that I guess he thought, like he said, he was just waiting to die. They showed up, gave him a purpose, made him feel wanted and needed and useful again, which in this world that they live in, you need that purpose in order to even have the will to continue surviving. So, you know, for Morales, it wasn't the same. The saviors aren't a negative experience for him. You know, it wasn't. And like he said, he's like, we're not the same people we were when we met all those years ago in Atlanta. You know, he said a very poignant line that I love in there where he says, like, you name all these people, Lori, you know, Glenn, Shane. He's like, but he's like, somewhere along the line, he's like, Officer Friendly died too. Like, you didn't count yourself in all those numbers. And it's so true that Rick now, and I've said this so many times, but honestly, season 1 Rick would totally like try to take out season 8 Rick, because he would think that this guy, season 8 Rick's a complete loose cannon. And in a way he is, but Morales' whole point was that, like, Rick, you can't look at me in judgment for being on this side of the fight, because we've both done what we needed to do to survive to this point. And we've both taken lives, and we've both done things that if we were to talk to ourselves a few years back, we would be appalled to hear that these things have happened. But that's just the nature of this world now. You've got to do what you got to do to survive. And it's everyone who's still alive for the most part, who's in this far into the apocalypse, unless they were fortunate enough to be Alexandrians or hilltop people, they've never had, you know, everyone else has had to go out there and do things that they, you know, morally reprehensible things, or things that they just would have never done if it hadn't been a matter of survival. So great conversation, everything. Like, the tea was scalding that Morales poured for Rick. Like, Rick, before you start getting up on that little high horse and preaching to me about how bad I am and how bad these people are, remember that all of them are like you, but just on a different side of the mirror. You know, you've done things from the viewpoint of what you had to do to survive, and so have we. You know, that's the whole thing when it comes to the whole question of war. You know, you've got two people who are two sides that are fighting in a war. Both sides are going to adamantly tell you that they believe in what they're fighting for, and they're both going to believe they're in the right. That's typically what starts wars in the first place. So, and then they like to also villainize the other side for, you know, whatever reason. And that's exactly what is happening in this war. You know, obviously we've been following Rick's story, so it's easy for us to be like, yeah, Negan's evil and Negan's people suck. And yes, Negan is by far the worst villain we've dealt with, in the sense of his way of surviving is definitely less than desirable, and he's hurt people that we as an audience came to care about. But if we go back to season 6, Rick was the one who showed up at the satellite station, which is very kind of symbolic that they hit this station again. They're the ones who showed up unprovoked and killed a bunch of people without giving them the chance to surrender or explain why they were there. Many of them were probably in Dwight's situation where they didn't want to be there, but did what they had to do to survive. But Rick and his group showed up and murdered a bunch of people in the name of what they thought was right. So how are they much different? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just all comes so cyclically around, and I love that Morales just managed to sum all that up in a really direct but kind of like honest and respectful way to Rick. So great interaction. I love that, even, you know, because a lot of people were like, I remember reading the comments and looking on the internet, people were like, why would they bring Morales back of all people after all this time? But honestly, you kind of need somebody like him who really truly knew Rick and hasn't been there with him through this journey up until this point to kind of give Rick this talking to, because nobody else would have really been qualified. Do you know what I mean? Everybody else in Rick's group, Rick has had to do some pretty crazy things to, you know, he's almost always done it in the name of saving the group or saving the people around him. So most of the people around him probably couldn't check Rick about this kind of stuff, because he'd turn around and probably be like, well, if it hadn't been for what I did here, here, and here, you'd probably be dead. So having Morales, who basically owes Rick nothing, tell him all these things and basically, like I said, like hold that mirror up to him and be like, same, basically. Hopefully this is something that Rick's gonna marinate on going forward. And I think it already has started to affect him, because we saw it at that very end scene with that young looking guy who clearly looked terrified. And Rick, I think he honestly meant what he said in that deal, like, dude, we'll let you live, just give us what we need. But Daryl is, you know, he's stone cold. He's where Morgan is, where he's like, they have to die. It's us or them. We don't care about their story. We don't care how young they are. We don't care what they look like. Like, he's not even flinched or fazed about the fact that this baby is now an orphan. that bothered Rick to his core, you can see, and Daryl was just kind of like, whatever, dump the baby somewhere, we got guns to get. So very interesting to see how so many different feelings and sides to how this war, I mean, we're definitely going to see some divisions in the ranks with all these groups about how to proceed as this war continues, because not everybody is on the same page with killing the saviors the way, I mean, it's really great. I shouldn't say great. It's easy in the beginning to be like, yeah, let's kill them all because we're so angry and we're still hurt over the losses and the pain we're going through. But when you actually get down to brass tacks and start to see the body counts and start to see that these are just humans like everybody else, it's not as easy. And I think everyone's starting to get a little taste of that. So next thing on the agenda, what else? There was no Michonne. Guys, it's been 2 whole episodes now. We have not seen this gorgeous bobbleheady face. And I miss her, but I guess I understand why we can't go back to Alexandria, but just a small little minor, I had to say it. The whole fight with Jesus and Morgan, woo, child. I mean, I thought if anyone, I mean, I guess I kind of saw it coming, but I really thought Morgan was gonna hold it together until later. Clearly not a good idea for him to fight in front of the prisoners, because especially with that little redheaded douchebag, him seeing that there is dissension in the ranks is clearly going to be something he's going to try to play on, because he's that guy, right? We saw he was winding Morgan up that entire time, hoping that Morgan would lose it. And now that he knows that these guys are not all on the same page, I can already foresee him causing some kind of rift, either if it's within the people at Hilltop or with his own people. Like, he's not going to stop. That man definitely should have gotten that bullet. I really wish that if Morgan had to get that one bullet off, it could have been for that redhead. I really wish he'd hit him. But anyway, obviously that fight was not about Jesus himself. So weird to keep saying Jesus. It was more about obviously the internal conflict that Morgan is dealing with. And he came so close, again, to saying those lines that he said so much in season, was that 3? Where he was like, you know, they turn and then you have to clear. Like, he's going back to that mindset because he doesn't know where to fall. And I feel like this whole thing with Morgan, what's going on with him, because I see a lot of people like, what is going on with him? Why is Morgan, like, we kind of like that he's a badass killer, but we don't need him back in crazy clear mode. At the same time, we don't want him back to, you know, all his life is precious mode either. But I feel like, you know, I've always felt like Morgan's journey is kind of like one step behind what we've seen Rick go through. And like, I think this is all kind of culminating into Morgan finally coming to terms with and coming to peace with Dwayne's death, his son's death. And I say this because if you look at like the way Rick's journey was to getting over Lori's death, you know, there was an initial shock where he kind of went loopy crazy for a while, and then he kind of went back into survival mode, and then it was kind of like, then he just kind of was feral Rick for a while. And finally, it came back to when he was in Alexandria, and as Scott Gimple said, the whole relationship that he had with, oh God, what's her name? The girl who ended up dying anyways with her 2 crazy kids. That whole relationship that happened was for Rick to finally close the book on his grief for Lori. And once that was done, and he had to say, Jessie, that was her name. When Jessie died and that whole thing happened, Rick was actually finally able to let go of that last amount of guilt and grief that he had over that death, and finally be able to step forward in being who he is now, who is a man who has to do what he has to do to survive. And I feel like Morgan is finally coming to that place. You know, Dwayne died, he lost it, went into clear Morgan mode, then he went back into survival mode. Eastman found him, he thought he had found a path that worked, but now, you know, getting close to that boy last season in the Kingdom, it kind of brought up, you know, ripped open that kind of really bad patch he had over his wound over Dwayne's death. And now those feelings that he didn't really deal with before are finally coming back, and he's kind of misplacing all that anger and grief again in this situation. But I feel like at some point, all of this is going to come back, and Morgan's going to have to just let go of the fact that, you know, Dwayne is gone. It was nothing he could do. It just is one of those things in this world where, you know, there was no guarantees that Dwayne was going to make it, and he has to let go of that guilt that he likely feels about him, you know, not being there or not teaching Dwayne enough or whatever it is, and let go of that grief so he can move forward and accept the fact that he's a man that now has to kill people, but not necessarily indiscriminately. And that's what Jesus's whole point is trying to be in this whole episode, is that we don't have to kill indiscriminately. We should be doing it as a matter of survival. And finally, the two last kind of scenes. I think Maggie's making a huge mistake. Unfortunately, I am totally with Tara. It's a bad idea to have that many saviors in Hilltop, which is probably the least protected and has the lowest population out of all of the groups that are involved here. And I have no doubt it's gonna turn around and bite her in the ass, but she trusts Jesus. And also Gregory being there, such a mistake. Such a mistake. But I get it, he's pathetic, and leaving him out there is equivalent to shooting, you know, killing them themselves, and that's just not, like Maggie said, he's not worth that kind of blood on my hands. And finally, of course, that scene where whoever's left at that last compound with Ezekiel and Carol, I mean, they kept screaming. They're not screaming, but they just kept saying, oh, none of us died, all of us are standing. I'm like, oh my God, why would you do that? Why in The Walking Dead would you do that? Such a bad move. Not shocking. Someone clearly jumped in the way of Ezekiel, but looks like we lost a bunch of people right off the bat, and Carol is somewhere in there, so we get that nail biter till next week. That was pretty much the whole episode, guys. What did you think? Do you feel like this season's going as well as I do? How did you feel about the way they handled the whole Morgan situation, and where do you think he's even going now? Is he gonna head back to Kingdom, or where's going on? Also, how do you feel about Daryl? I didn't really talk about him much, but he's a little bothersome right now in his whole robotic stage. Let me know in the comments, like, what do you think is going on with him? Do you think him and Rick are gonna end up clashing and potentially going separate ways where this is all concerned? And also, are you like me? Did you miss Michonne? Because I know I miss Michonne. Let me know below. And if you like this comment or this video, guys, please go ahead and click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please subscribe. Until next time, see ya.